So, you must be here for the 2024 NASCAR Chase for the Cup preview video as we have approached the first weekend of the 10-man Chase for the Cup at the NAPA 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Hey YouTube, what's going on? Mark here. Happy late Friday evening. I'm going to try to make this as quick as I can so I can get this done, a video edited and recorded, edited, and uploaded in a timely manner before we have to get our ass to bed really early tonight, but also not all that late. That way we can get ready for Haley's Earnhardt Dillon third birthday party tomorrow over at the Kinsmans where the Coughlins used to live. So, which will be YouTube and will probably be edited and uploaded right off the bat so we can get that uploaded on Saturday in the middle of Saturday. Well, it's still relatively early tomorrow, and then late tomorrow night going into early Sunday morning we get the next preview, NASCAR preview video up. So let's go over it. So there's like this one in terms of, going over the Chase for the Cup. But before I do, at least you guys know what the whole schedule changes. I'm glad I told you guys in advance and not blindsided you that yesterday's Fall Prologue was canceled, in which Adventures in Autumn Season 4 was supposed to premiere today. So, therefore, since it was inclement weather today, and even if the original schedule had remained intact, there really wasn't going to be much action in the happiest place in Northeast Ohio tonight, everyone, because almost everybody in the grandma was at the Ridgeville Rangers football game. Now that school's back starting, so Friday nights aren't going to be as busy in Sandy Ridge like they normally are during the fun in the sun portion of the year. So therefore, that was a good call. We moved the Adventures in Autumn Season 4 premiere to yesterday, or if you're seeing this way later, 2 days ago, and then moved the canceled the Fall Prologue and got to do the Chase of the Cup video tonight. Technically, if you're seeing this Saturday yesterday, which is a video really wasn't supposed to happen. I wanted to do both, but it was going to be one or the other. So luckily, we were able to make one video happen so we can keep the conjunction stuff going. So therefore, that's why there was no Fall Prologue, and Adventures in Autumn started a day earlier than planned. So therefore, I will have an announcement video on Wednesday regarding the future of this channel going forward. And don't worry, I have all the content I normally been putting on there since the post-COVID vaccine season, and then later post-COVID 2022, 23 and beyond. That's going to remain the same, but there's going to be new content added in the future once I get better equipment and better editing software and possibly new tools. But more on that Wednesday. Right now, the elephant in the room, the 2024 Chase for the Cup in the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. So therefore, we started to kick it off for the Winston Cup Series this weekend at the Atlanta Motor Speedway in the NAPA 500, which is a miniature super speedway race. So basically, it counts as a plate race. This is a race I've been looking forward to for months because of how exciting and how much of a hell of a way we wrapped up the summer, and now we're currently kicking off the fall as we speak. Because I love restrictor plate racing, because after the banger we got there in the Cracker Barrel 500, which when we recorded that crash land of the movie with ViaQuest, when we said farewell to Murray Ridge Elyria, and how amazing that was. I know some people didn't like that, and felt it was like an ugly race with too many wrecks with very little people left on the track at the end. But that's fine. I respect your opinion, but I personally enjoyed that shit, and I was happy to see my dad's driver win. But I'll have more on that in a little bit. So I figured, you know what? It's going to be frigid this Sunday, considering it's going to be cold as shit tomorrow at the Kinsmans for Haley's birthday party. So therefore, why the fuck not take advantage of it being frigid, and you're a little bit too frigid for us, and stay inside and watch NASCAR. So that's what we're going to do. So therefore, I will be watching Watkins Glen the next week too. Even though it's going to be like in the lower to mid 80s, I don't give a fuck. I'm still watching NASCAR. I mean, I wouldn't be caring about Watkins Glen if it wasn't for a particular someone coming back, someone I rooted for in the Sandhurst House in Brook Park, Juan Pablo Montoya, driving her 2311 in the third car as a teammate to Bubba and Chase contender Tyler Reddick. So that's one reason why I'm even tuning in to begin with, to see how he does, to see how he's been since the last time I saw him in person at MIS and the Sirius Satellite Radio 400 and the Brickyard 400 on TV, both in 2014. So therefore, I might have to bust out an old JPM shirt if I can find any of those shirts anywhere where I packed him away after he left, and I thought we would never see him again. And guess what? We are. The thing is, even if I find any of them, what if they don't fit? Any of them don't fit me anymore. Considering I was a teenager back then, now I'm a fully grown 30-year-old that has gained a lot more weight and has lost a smidgen of it. But I was a hell of a lot skinnier when I was a Montoya fan, and I used to wear those shirts every Sunday. So therefore, there's a lot to unpack here, but I'm going to try to make it a long video short. So anyway, the chase begins this Sunday in Atlanta, NAPA 500. So one of the two wild card races in the chase, especially, Watkins Glen, not so much, but the Sharpie 500 is going to be chaotic, but there's a 50-50 chance we may or may not watch that race, and you want to know why? Because Poker Game Night season 3 will be returning with the long-awaited 4th episode, which we haven't had an episode since episode 3 back in March, because April we did that little collab crossover with Braden Cole when his mom Angie took us, for an adventure since she left FireQuest. And then I think in May, we were going to do it, but my dad had a cold and I did not want to risk getting sick with summer around the corner at the time. So I didn't want to risk it and I stayed home. Oh my God, these last several months I've been busy with the summer events. So I don't even remember what was going on in June or July for that matter. August, I know who even remembers at this point? But all I know is April was Braden and Angie. May was because my dad was sick and I didn't want to risk catching it. June was because, I think June was because I was tired and I wanted to sleep because I didn't have much of a night's sleep the night before, which caused me to not have much of a day the next day. So, yeah. July. Oh yeah, August. I know why we didn't do it in August, because my dad was busy with with his new current life, with the Kate being out of town and whatnot, which is why we didn't make the fair. But the July reasoning, I don't even fucking remember anymore. But anyway, that's beside the point. So there's a good chance we may or may not watch that race if, Poker Game Night is scheduled on, which most likely will be. It depends on if my dad decides to go. If he decides to go, then we'll skip the Sharpie 500 and record the next episode of Poker Game Night, which should be episode 4 of season 3. But if he decides for some reason that he's not going to do it, then we'll watch the Sharpie 500, I guess. So therefore, that's a wild card race. That's an elimination race, or, I can't predict to you who who I think's gonna make it far or not make it very far, or who's gonna make it to the Final Four of my championship. I learned my lesson from the 2021 prediction video for the Championship 4 that I made with Christy Berkeley when we worked at Triad back in the 2021-22 season, like the post-vaccination season. Part of 2021 when we started going into our first full-on normal year for the first time since 2019 and 2022. Well, I learned my lesson. I made predictions and I got all of them wrong and it blew up in my face. So that was my lesson telling me, don't ever make predictions with this broken chase format ever again. So I'm just here to give you my 2 cents of what I'm looking forward to and what I'm expecting and what I'm going to be dreading. So I'm looking forward to this Sunday to see some comers and goers like bitches, see the real test for how these chasers are going to fare out based on what happens in the first race. Who's going to be sitting in the catbird seat after the checkered flag in the NAPA 500, who's going to be, looking to rebound at Watkins Glen. But who's gonna remain consistent, who's gonna be the one that's gonna obviously not show up, because in terms of people who have no business being in near the chase, let alone in it, like a Harrison Burton or Chase Briscoe. I mean, no offense to my friend Marissa, because I'm a friend, I'm happy for her husband's getting a second career Winston Cup win in the Mountain Dew Southern 500 and doing that walk-off, chase win. But do you really think he's going to go far? Absolutely not. But that's probably going to change next year and beyond when he replaces MTJ at the Joe Gibbs number 19. So therefore, we already know Briscoe's in good hands next year and beyond, at a better team to see if he shows true potential, because Stuart Hazo Racing does not have the superior equipment like it once did when Tony, took over after, you know, the Haas CNC shit kind of went away, you know, considering Haas sucked for its whole existence till Tony came. And now that they realize they aren't shit without Tony, because they were only good in the late 2010s, late 2000s, or the early to mid 2010s because of Smoke. And then when Smoke retired, he was showing less and less care towards that team after he retired. And then by the early 2020s, we're approaching in the board, like, you know, in the midst of the mid 2020s, he just said, fuck this, I'm out. And I don't blame him, because, you know, modern NASCAR is a shit show compared to what it used to be in the Gen 4 Winston Cup era. But at the end of the day, it's still a sport. And as a sport overall, I still love it, no matter what gripes I have with it these days and how much I complain about it, considering I was at an all-time low at NASCAR last year, taking the year off minus MIS and the Gatorade Twin 125. So, what? And do you expect Harrison Burton to do anything? No. All I know is, you know, 34th in points, the last place full-time driver in the Winston Cup standings, should not have a shot at the championship. But that's a story for another day, another video. But the only way I could see him moving past, you know, the round of 16 going to round of 12 is if we have another Daytona Talladega moment, where a quote-unquote baby Daytona Atlanta Super Speedway, where almost all the front runners and contenders all wreck out or have mechanical failures, and then letting all the underdogs have a chance at a win, including Harrison Burton, which gives them a good chance of, you know. And if that happens, imagine the uproar the internet's going to have, and all the contenders that should be advancing are not because of him. And Austin Cindric, like Real Radman said, does pretty well in Atlanta, but Watkins Glen is his, you know, Healy's heel when it comes to the tracks in the first round. And the Sharpie 500, anything could happen. It's a wild card, so I do look forward to seeing or not seeing what happens there, depending on my dad's status for the third Saturday of this month with Poker Game Night. We'll just have to wait and see. But so now to the round of 12. We got, let me see here, oh my god, what was that? I know the EA Sports 500 is the one in the middle. That's the one in the middle. But what was that? Oh yeah, the Banquet 400. The Banquet 400 is before the EA Sports 500. And then we got, that's after EA Sports 500, the Charlotte Roval. Now, first off, before I get into what I expect to see in the Charlotte Roval, first thing I want to say to NASCAR, ditch the fucking Roval already, sure. Even if it means the UAW GM Quality 500 will never come back, okay, fine. The best you can do is, replace it with, like Sierra TV said, maybe Rockingham would be the best choice to bring back the Pop Secret Microwave 400, but you get my point. The Roval has lost its luster. Actually lost its luster for me after the 2021 Harvick, Elliott, shebang like Ricky Martin. But then, that was the last, good moment, like good Roval race we had, because 2022, we all know what happened. It was snooze fest from start all the way to 6 to go. When that piece of cardboard came out that was laying in the middle of the track in the infield portion, since 40 to go, and NASCAR didn't see shit, or if they saw shit, they probably either didn't see shit because they were asleep in the tower, eating, soft serve vanilla ice cream, smoking a Winston, having an ice cold Coke, eating a big steak dinner for lunch or something with A1 sauce, anything, or they were asleep, and then somebody who was actually paying attention, no matter what the two of the activities those fellas on the tower were doing, said, hey, there's a cardboard, sign out there in the middle of the track where to go, why don't you throw the caution? And probably he urged those idiots to throw the caution out, and then created a shit show mess where it went into overtime and everybody ran over each other, and was a repeat of Indianapolis road course. Don't even get me started on that abomination. We're definitely past that, but that brings back bad memories. When they all just forgot how to drive, because it's always common that it's a road course that's not Searsport and Watkins Glen. If it's in a restart within 5 to go or less, it just becomes just becomes shit show central where everybody goes Banzai and just runs over each other like they have the caution flags turned off, the damage disabled, and no driving assist on, no driving assist on, no, the yellow flag's off, damage disabled, and no driving assist like in NASCAR Thunder 03 and 04 or even Chase for the Cup, and they go full send and just run each other into the wall or knock each other sideways in the heartburn turn. And it doesn't make that kind of stuff doesn't make what was already a boring race interesting. And then when they finally figured it out and then got to the white flag, as much as I Chase Briscoe for being friends with his wife, I did not find this okay when he was like, well, no, it wasn't Briscoe or anything. It was his teammate, if anything. Custer brake checking people, to help Briscoe get into the next round, which should get into round of 8, which cut Larson out of the chase. The defending champion didn't get to race for a championship because the chase system was broken, and this broken ass chase system. And the reason why Custer did that because it was some team order bullshit from Briscoe's team to Custer's, like, hey, brake check these guys behind you. That way your teammate can go get into the chase since we have nothing to lose for ourselves. Like, that team orders in NASCAR or in motorsports in general have totally unnecessary. Even if it was RCR or Petty Enterprises with Austin or John Hunter, I'd be saying the same thing. So don't just be saying, I don't think you would be saying that if it was your driver on your favorite race team. No, even back in the Nightmare Fuel season of Petty Enterprises in 03 with Kyle Petty and even John Andretti / that imposter, Brazilian bum Christian Fittipaldi, guess what? I would have been saying, well, as an adult, maybe I would have been saying the same thing, but in 03, I was 9, so maybe I wouldn't be saying the same thing, because that was something I wouldn't have done as a kid, take full responsibility and accountability for my favorite race car drivers and race teams when they do something that's stupid and egregious. So, therefore, it goes to show you how much I've grown as a race fan, not just a person, but as a race fan. I'm growing out of funks like that, because back when in the Lenore days in Michigan as a Kyle Petty fan, in the heyday of Lenore, the twilight and the twilight and of Lenore days with being Montoya and Kyle Petty, and then that last full year I was on Lenore, that first full season Kyle Petty was away in 2009, which is just Montoya, and then from back to move back to Ohio into the Sandhurst House to Brook Park from the Lenore House in Michigan all the way up to the first half of my last year, full year school at Polaris, my extra year, extra year with Mr. Charnago to happily finish 2 full years of being at Polaris, let alone in Mr. Charnago's class alone, and Montoya left, and then being an Austin Dillon fan for the second half of that season and up to this point, up to 2019, 2020, no, I would not have, I would not have taken, I was a different person back in that time period up until COVID, really gave me a reality check and a wake-up call to the point where when the vaccine season started and, we were in the middle of that Murray Ridge Restart program, that's what really changed me as a person, where I kind of became a night and day difference between the person and race fan I am now and the race fan and person I was back in those days, waiting for driver Petty, Montoya, and then in the beginning part of the end of Sanders, beginning to the last part of the pre-COVID part of Sandy Ridge, Dillon, and then the other guys that came later, yeah, I changed. So therefore, I wasn't cool with Austin. At first I was excited to heat him up. We all know the Richmond debacle. I wasn't cool with Ty Dillon driving through the whole field in the last heat race of the 2022 Bud Shootout at the LA Coliseum to get into the main event. And he was rightfully disqualified, but it was not for the dirty driving. It was for jumping the last restart. But you put 2 and 2 together, he drove like a complete ass that day. And I wasn't cool with Gregson dumping Sage Karam out of anger as retaliation for an incidental bump going through the fastest part of the track at Road America during 4th of July weekend at Dalen Baker's grad party, when we had that 4th of July triple header, 3 videos in 3 days, causing the biggest accident in Road America history and nearly getting someone injured. I wasn't cool with that. I wasn't cool with some of the dirty shit Nemechek's done over the year, in recent years. like even before I rooted for John Hunter. I remember watching that Canadian Tire Motorsports Park race, and when ironic Custer comes up in this, I wasn't even a John Hunter fan yet until the next year when he went on a tear, winning those races at Iowa and Gateway back to back in trucks. And even before I was an Nemechek fan, that wasn't cool to me then either. I remember going on a mini tirade about it on Facebook, and people were commenting like, "Yeah, you're right, Mark. I agree. That was not the way to win it," but I wasn't cool with even though this was off the track, the stuff off the track. I wasn't cool with Gregson liking that sensitive meme on Instagram with George Floyd, and I wasn't cool with Nemechek's reaction to his teammate getting injured at Talladega. Even though it looked like, to be fair, he was like responding to the trolls and trying to troll them right back. But it was just bad timing, but it still didn't make it okay that he reacted that way. But at least he later owned up to it and said some good things about his teammate once they found out what the hell happened. So at least he was able to make it right that way. But I'm not saying it excused him what he did, but at least take accountability even if it's after the fact. So but those are the things I wouldn't have done being a fan of Kyle Petty on Lenore, Kyle Petty and Montoya, like early Twilight Lenore, Montoya Twilight Lenore, and going into all of Sandhurst, until the first half of 13-14, and then, the second half of 13-14 up to pre-COVID Sandy Ridge from February 7, 2015 to January, February 2020 with Austin and Ty and later all these other drivers coming. I wouldn't have done any of that. That's what I mean by I changed as not only a person, but as a race fan. So, therefore, I forgot what I was even saying.
And you know what? I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, yeah, the Charlotte Roval. Okay, Charlotte Roval. So, 2021 was the last somewhat good race there after, they didn't black flag Chase Elliott properly for the back bump. I don't know if it was the back bumper cover or the deck lid on the trunk hanging, but that was anyone else. They would, even if it was the Brett Bodine imposter Denny or the Ward Burton imposter Logano, they would have black flagged their ass and send them to the pit road and have them fix that. But no, they then leave them out there and make it look like it was Thunder 03, Thunder 04 coming to life, and then they let them run out there and with the dangling like that until it eventually comes off and causes a debris caution. Because what if that came to life like in the Thunder games where somebody could have ran over and cut a tire, except it would be a lot more dangerous and harmful compared to in the games where in the games you just blow a tire and that's it. You could just come in the pits and change the tire. Well, it would in real life that would do more damage than just that. Just goes to show you video games, especially the older ones that I played casually growing up, that these NASCAR YouTubers are playing with mods on emulators, is not real life. So take notes to those who don't understand the difference between video game and real life, including the kid version of me. You can take a time machine back to 2001, 02, 03 and tell them flips are serious. This is not the video games you play on the PS1 and 2 all the time. So anyway, back to the chase thing. So I think but anyway, okay. So the Charlotte Roval after starting in 2022, lost its luster, and as of 2023, and even this year, and even when they guaranteed to come back next year, that shit has overstayed its welcome. Like, get rid of that shit. But if you don't want to go back to the UAW GM Quality 500, go somewhere else that where any town with a Winston Cup racetrack, a NASCAR racetrack that's a big deal, that has a good fan base in the city that is really passionate about racing, give them a chase weekend they deserve. If you give it to Rockingham, there's two benefits. One, it keeps the chase in North Carolina, and two, guess what? You get the Pop Secret microwave popcorn back for the first time since 2003. Bill Elliott would turn out to be Bill Elliott's final win. So at least you'll have that. So I would love to see that. But the Charlotte Roval, don't expect anything interesting, because I don't even know what happened last year since I took the year off. So I don't even want to know. I don't know if Talladega is a wild card. Anything could happen. We have a chance that a non-chaser could play spoiler and win, and shake everything up and set the chase field in terms of who's going to win, which chasers going to win to advance back, and see change the outcome of which chasers will advance after the Charlotte Roval. But Kansas is one of the closest to a normal track that's not a wild card. You know, if there's a good car that sits on the pole and qualifies top 5, or even top 10 for that matter, and works their way up to the front, they usually stay there unless some bullshit happens or someone they get caught up in somebody else's mess. The pit crew fucks up or they make a mistake on track, driver mistake. So, I mean, Daniel Hemrick, I'm a Hemrick fan. He did win the pole for the 2019, almost said Brickyard, Banquet 400, but you know damn well he didn't stay up there too long. And I missed majority of that race anyway and turned it on when he and my dad's driver wrecked each other on one of the late race restarts. So, therefore, it was right before the COVID season started. So, therefore, yeah, don't expect anything great and interesting at the Charlotte Roval, considering how it has really been all that interesting since 2021, at least to me. But the only thing that'll be interesting is the race of that last spot in the round of 8. So the round of 8, like what I think Radman said, is like the only full-on normal round because you have normal tracks and not some living la vida loca shit where anything can happen and anyone can have a good chance of advancing. Anyone can have a good chance of being knocked out. So we got Viva Las Vegas, and I think... Let me see here. I was trying to count the exact 10 races and races that in the chase. So how many OG races? I think they're all OG races except for Vegas 2 and Charlotte Roval. So Vegas 2 is the only non-OG race in the round of 8, and the only non-OG race in the round of 12 is the Charlotte Roval. Or I should have replaced of an OG race called an OG race in the UAW GM Quality 500, and hopefully will be replaced one day in the future by another OG race that we haven't raced that since 03, the Pop Secret 400 at Rockingham. So we got one of the only two non-OG races, like modern day races. Fall Vegas. We got the Ford 400, which hopefully will one day host a championship finale again, because I'll have more details on what I'm going to do for next year's championship finale in a little while. I think they're only doing it early in the season, which I'm going to have more details on in Tuesday's video about, the renovations and stuff, in hopes they'll be the championship finale again. Then we got the Old Dominion 500, where home of the Hail Melon in 2022, with Chastain get in and that Brett Bodine wannabe, Dennis get eliminated when he was about to make it, and Chastain nipped him at the line when it was the wall wide, and I see why NASCAR banned it. I don't blame them. So this would be a game of Russian roulette or win, lose, or draw, not more than just a wild card. Whoever's like the favorite, whoever's like has a good car at Vegas or Homestead is expected to be safe in going into the Old Dominion 500. So therefore, the only thing that's going to be interesting in terms of who's going to make the championship for the next week and who's going to be not sitting on the coach. What's different about NASCAR is postseason is unlike the NBA and the bitch ass overhyped and overrated ass NFL, and NASCAR, even if you're knocked out in the chase at any time, unlike those the other sports at postseason where their season's done and you have to either sit at home and watch the rest of the postseason on TV or just go on vacation, not think about the rest of the postseason, you get to still be on the track. Just as me as an Austin Dillon fan, barely missed making the round of 8 in 2016, the day after La Vida Labras came to an end as a whole franchise in the EA Sports 500 by virtue of a tiebreaker by this much, but the Brett Bodine imposter. But look at that. Even with that heartbreak, that double heartbreak I endured in two-day time span, guess what? The right side about that was that 2016 season after that depressing weekend was Austin Dillon in the 3 still got to be on the track and finish the season. So that's the one different thing about NASCAR compared to the other sports of the postseason, where normally your season's over. The drivers who are eliminated in the chase get to still be on the track. So therefore, those of you who have favorite drivers to root for in the chase, I'm pretty sure you probably know this, but I'm just for those who don't know. Even if your driver gets eliminated from the chase, even if it's a first round exit, not to fret, because unlike the NBA, MLB, NHL, and the bitch-ass NFL, which can get fucked, by the way, your favorite driver will still get to be on the track, so not to worry. But anyway, I'm just repeating myself at this point. So the only interesting thing to look out for is some desperation, Hail Mary, miracle move for someone to get into the fight for the final spot in the championship 4 at the Checker Auto Parts 500, Harvick in 2020, and which bit him in the ass and cost him that because it came back and bit him in the ass and it backfired, and two, as much as I don't like Harvick and clowned him back then, considering I got tired of him and Brett Bodine and wannabe, stinking up the Winston Cup Series in the COVID year 2020. I will admit that moving my personal feelings aside, that was his championship to win and he got robbed of it because of a broken ass chase system. So, and then look at that. That backfired for Harvick in 2020, but it worked for Chastain in 2022. So, if we're going to see that in 2024, I don't think we saw that in 2021 when I ran out of Halloween costume ideas and stayed inside on Halloween to watch the Old Dominion 500, which was tame compared to the next year. And I don't even know how the 2023 one went. I took the year off. So, if we see some kind of last-second ditch effort gamble, Hail Mary miracle move, who's going to be in that position in order for them to actually make some whatever move they got up their sleeve. Only time will tell. That's exactly what I think it's going to come down to. And then we got the championship 4 at the Phoenix International Raceway. So before I get into what I think is going to happen, no matter who wins the race or the championship or both, then guess what I'm going to do? Guess what I'm going to do next year? I'm going to the Checker Auto Parts 500 next year with my dad. So we'll get to see a champion get crowned in person for the first time in what I think will be 24 years as a NASCAR fan, even if the race is boring. So unfortunately, just a heads up, less than over a year in advance, there will be no Halloween content in season 5 of Adventures in Auto in 2025, because October 31st will be a Friday, and that'll be the weekend of the championship race in Phoenix. So I'm going to be out of town for Halloween. So the Columbia TriStar Television Halloween Spicer with me and Julie will have to wait till 2026 when we get to season 6. Oh my God. How the fuck old will I be by then? Because if I'm 30 now, I'll be fucking 32 by then, and my number one boy best friend, Caden Clapham, will have been graduated high school by the time we get to the Columbia TriStar Halloween with Julie and I. God forbid if we're still together by then. But, oh man, I'm going to have my hands full the next 2 years, in terms of Adventures on season 5 and 6, but that's neither here or there because we just started season 4. We have a long way to go, and we have to focus on that and get ready for the Sandy Ridge finale in 2 months after this Checker Auto Parts 500 this year, and get ready for season 4 Winter Wonderland and the return of the Christmas season come December 1st. But that's also neither here or there. So the championship for Phoenix. So I think it's going to come down to who can, stay out of trouble the most, avoid mistakes, and, who, can, pounce when it matters most. So, therefore, what I think is going to happen, what I'm personally hoping, too, is that, kind of like last year, we were long overdue for this, and it hadn't happened last year, where a non-chase driver who never made the chase at all to begin with, or a driver that was in the chase but got eliminated earlier, wins the race, while the highest finishing championship 4 driver in separation wins the championship. We saw that last year in the Checker Auto Parts 500. The Mellon Man won the race itself and got to do his own victory celebration for the race, while Blaney won the championship. That is something that I prefer. I prefer someone wins the race separately, and someone wins the championship separately, no matter what format it is. We saw it with Winston Cup a lot. We saw it with NASCAR Cup. We saw it a lot with Sprint Cup. Well, to be fair, no, we did not. I mean, we saw it in Sprint Cup, but pre 2014. But from 2014, to 16 with the Sprint Cup, and 2017 through 2019 with Monster Energy Cup, and from 2020 to 2022 with just NASCAR Cup. It was always the person that was winning the race also won the championship because they were the highest of the championship 4. Because the championship 4 was clogging up the top 4 spots and, not spread out like last year. That streak ended last year. I think that's going to happen this year. At least that's what I'm hoping, because it makes it more special when the championship four spread out throughout the field, and whoever's the highest won the championship, and some rando that didn't make the chase to begin with, was in the chase, got eliminated, wins the race, gets to have his own celebration, have his name in the record books in his own section for 2024 when it comes to wrapping up this season. And what was something else I was going to say in relation to that too? Yeah, okay, so therefore, the only one I'll be keeping an eye on this year, no matter what happens or how he's done this year, is that Ward Burton wannabe Logano. You don't forget, he is always, finding a way to balance or bullshit his way into some kind of success, like trophy or whatever, and an even numbered year, because 2016, the Live and La Vida Elaborate. 2014, he was in the chase, and made the Final Four when it was under the Sprint Cup. It was Sprint Cup. 2015 won the Daytona 500. That looked to be his breakout year, his best year, and then the whole Matt Kenseth, you should bang like Ricky Martin happened, which cost him a shot at the Final Four in the championship. 2016, he was back in the hunt, and was in the middle of that whole Carl Edwards thing. I believe. I think he was the one that turned Edwards, if I'm not mistaken, which caused Edwards to bail out right before the 2017 season started, and he had to rush Daniel Suarez up sooner than they originally planned. 2018, we all know he got the title. 2017, he started off good. 2017 he started good, but then he won the Pontiac Excitement 400, had the encumbered win, and then it just went down the toilet from there, and he failed to make the chase despite the win because, encumbered. 2018, he came back strong and won the championship, even though that was a broken championship in 2018. He wasn't the best all year. 2019, I would say it's close between who was better between Kyle Busch and Martin Truex Jr., but I don't think Logano was even in there. So, no, that was an odd number year. 2020, the COVID year, I don't remember or not. I'm guessing he might have been in there because he's always in the 100 even number years, and then the odd numbered years, he doesn't do shit. 2021, though, it's hard to find out. Half of these years are hard to remember. This is how little I keep up with, it's important serious information with modern NASCAR compared to Winston Cup Gen 4, 01, 02, 03 NASCAR that I grew up with and loved and watched every week and didn't want to miss it, and I was addicted to, because I used to follow it more closely back then than I do today, despite still being a NASCAR fan. But hey, that's what happens when you get older. You evolve and you change as a person and a fan of anything you like. So, therefore, but we all know in 2022, he won the championship. 2023, I don't even know. I don't want to talk about that because I didn't watch most of it, almost all of it, except for 2 races. 120 non-points paying race and a points paying race. One on TV, one in person. And then this year, he really shouldn't be in the chase, if we're being honest, because he was dog shit up until Nashville happened, where he should have won with that 5 overtime shit show that happened that saw my boy Zane Smith nearly win the race. And I'm a Zane fan, and needless to say, 1, I am glad I did not tune into that, and 2, whether I tune into it or not, I would have loved to see him win so I could do a celebratory dance and celebratory video, and do a little song choice for my dances for when my drivers win. I had my own victory mixtape for the Spurs and named my drivers in NASCAR. But personal feelings aside, and fanboy cap off, and bias thrown out the window, are in the deep end swim of the swimming pool. I am so glad he didn't win. Part of me would have been happy that I finally got a driver who got his first win, whether I watched or not. But at the same time, I would not be happy that he would be wasting a potential chase spot from someone who actually deserves to be there more. So that race, Logano really shouldn't have won. But hey, you live and you learn. So therefore, he was on and off with the consistency after that, including that Chevrolet Monte Carlo 400 shit with us. So you just never know right now that he's in the chase. We don't know how he's going to do, because just like in the NBA, regular season is one thing, postseason is another. Because in the postseason, in NASCAR the Chase and the NBA the playoffs, the postseason is a whole new ball game in terms of how you do compared to the regular season against the same competition you face in the regular season. So that's gonna do it for me tonight. I'm taking this hat off. I'm sweating like well, I'm not. No, that's a poor choice of words. I'm not sweating like a pig. I'm starting to boil a little bit, but I gotta get off this thing. Maybe I'll edit it and schedule it for a morning upload. That way I can give you the Kinsmans birthday party video middle of the day, and I can record the NAPA 500 preview and schedule it for an early morning upload before the race, and then give you my race review of the NAPA 500 late Sunday evening going into early nighttime hours. Monday when we go back and we go to Family Dollar to get some Coke, I'm gonna bring you guys with me along for the ride. The 10th, we got the NASCAR Winston Cup Series 2025 schedule breakdown with the race by race with a little bit of Busch Grand National Craftsman truck. And then Wednesday, stay tuned for an important announcement video. And Thursday, and there will be an upload Thursday. Just remembered, my girlfriend will be at bowling with her current day program learning farm this Thursday. And my dad, who had a minor surgery today, will be out of work for like a week, I think. And he wants to come watch to my work and watch me bowl. And I said, I'll take you to I'll take you to VideQuest. You can finally see it and you can meet everybody. I know you're at the bowling alley watching me bowl. You can meet your future daughter-in-law. And guess what? Me and Julie will finally do that long-awaited update video that we should have done last week, but the learning farm wasn't there because they had too much work on their hands when it was my week to go bowling last time. So therefore, we'll be doing a video there. We'll be doing a photo shoot with my dad, my girlfriend, me. We'll a future family shoot. And then when I take my dad back to the day program to finish the day with me, I'll have him meet my Eddie, my boss, and if he can manage to have a success doing it, he'll bring his retired dad Edgar Sr. in, so it could be the Elliott show. So it's gonna be I'm already looking forward to next week and seeing all the excitement. I'm bringing all this excitement I have in store to share with all of you. So have a good night tonight and a better day tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Good night. I will see you all for this next batch of videos, which will be, if you're watching this, on Friday night, tomorrow, Saturday. But if you're watching this early Saturday morning, then it'll be all of today going through at least, Thursday, the latest. So looking forward to the Haley's party tomorrow at the Kinsmans, seeing everyone. And I'm meeting some new people for the first time tomorrow, technically later today if you're watching this. And, watching the NAPA 500 at Atlanta on Sunday and going from there at least throughout Thursday. So see you later, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.